right, welcome to another edition of Metal Roots. Today, I am thrilled to have with me Mr. Travis Wills, most recently from the band Crimson Glory, who we'll talk a lot about and who has a new album coming out here soon in April. But Travis, thanks for joining me. It's great to have you on the program.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I think we'll just kind of start at the beginning because I'll be honest, I knew a little bit about you before I set this up from a couple of the bands you've been in, but I don't really know a lot about your backstory and history. So if you don't mind, we'll kind of start at the beginning. Just tell me a little bit about your childhood. Where'd you grow up? Tell me about your family growing up. Was Travis into like sports or what as a kid? Things like that.
Okay. Going way back. So I grew up in Houston, and by the age of 12, 13, I was hooked on music, and I wanted to be a drummer. And so I started playing drums, and by the time I got to, I don't know, 23 years old, I decided to start playing guitar because I couldn't find any bands that wanted to do what I wanted to do. And I was listening to Dream Theater, and back then that was when their first album came out. That was then it was this Crimson Glory, Fate's Warning. I wanted to do stuff like that, and the bands I was playing in was just doing like, kind of regular rock. It was hard to find the singing that I wanted, the key changes, the time signatures, and I just couldn't find it. So I was like, I think I'm going to go ahead and start playing guitar. And so my best friend at the time, he played in a local band called Regime, and they were like Cacophony, but with a killer singer. So I started taking lessons from him, and I really liked his singer, and so I became friends with him, and he taught me a little bit about how to sing and stuff, and I started getting into that. And there were some other bands called Winter, Stride, and they all had really good singers as well. So I started singing, and then I eventually started taking guitar lessons from the local music store, and from a guitar player named Joel Gregoire, who took lessons from, he went to GIT and was instructed by Paul Gilbert. And and so I kind of had my own thing going. And fast forward to 2000, I moved here to Dallas and got with a local band called Tier, and I started singing with them. And then kind of just jumped from band to band, and I decided I want to put my own thing together, and I couldn't find any musicians, so I got with my my buddy Wayne, who's now the drummer for Lillian Axe.
Okay.
And we interviewed guitar players, and we didn't like the direction it was going, and I said, this is what I want to do. And so I went home and wrote a song, and that song was called Alive, and it's on the Infidel Rising's first album. It's really progressive and stuff like that, and we ended up finding some musicians to play that stuff, and they ended up being in the band, and they were all really good musicians. And we did that for maybe 10 years, and then during that time, I'm trying to think what happened. Dave from Millennial Reign, his singer left, or something. I can't exactly remember what happened, but he asked me, he's like, hey, can you come in and finish this album, the new album? And I did it in like 3 weeks, wrote all the lyrics and melodies, and we laid the tracks, and mixed and mastered. We did some shows in Switzerland and Mexico.
When you say Switzerland, did you play Elements of Rock?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we played that way back in 2013. So
No, did you?
yeah.
That's cool. It's a cool place.
Yeah, it is. It's going on next weekend. So yeah.
I like Switzerland.
Yeah.
And then after that, I got back with Infidel Rising. So I was just mainly helping Dave out because he was my neighbor for many years, and I didn't want to let him down. So I helped him out on the album, and then I went back and we started recording more Infidel Rising songs. And the second album came out, and then we started working on the third one. And by that time, I was like getting really, really burnt out with the scene. I mean, we were lucky to get 10 people to come to a show, and it was like, I'm putting all this time and energy into something that's going nowhere. And during that, my family was suffering because I was putting all my time and energy into music, and just and I did that for, the whole time I was married.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got to the point, it was like, I'm done with music. And I said, I need to focus on my marriage, and I need to focus on building my relationship back with Christ, because I felt like I had drifted further than before I knew it. I looked and I had drifted so far away. I'm like, this isn't where I want to be. This isn't where I want to be in my life. And so I turned things around in a hurry, and I don't know, within like a few weeks, Crimson Glory called me. Jeff actually sent me a message, and he's like, "Hey, can you sing any Crimson Glory?" And I'm like, "I don't know." I said, "We used to do it in my old band." I'm like, "Why? What's up?" And he's like, "Well, here's the deal. We're wanting to put the band back together, and we've been trying out a bunch of singers, and they're not really grabbing us." And Jeff and I wouldn't say we were good friends on the internet, but we sparred a lot because he is an atheist, and of course I'm not. And so we would do this back and forth all the time. But I'm glad that he didn't let that get in the way of music. So I was like, yeah, sure, I can go ahead and try it. And sorry, I've got a little bit of a cold.
Yeah, no, you're good.
And so I did Painted Skies.
Okay, yeah.
I sent it to him. And
when she said the world is lonely, silver clouds are crying only for the pain she feels so deep inside.
And he's like, "Hey, yeah, the guys like it." And I was like, "Wait, are you serious?" He's like, "Yeah." And I said, "I tell you what, let me re-sing that," because I was like, I know I can sing that better. I just didn't have any idea that you guys would be interested in me. So I went and I re-sang it. And then Ben's like, "I'd like to hear a few more songs." And I ended up doing Where Dragons Rule. I think it was Queen of the Masquerade. And Azrael.
Okay.
And I sang those and sent it to them, and they really liked what I had done. And so then it was time to work on the original, the new original that's on the new album, which was Triskaideka.
I'm glad you said it because I never knew how to pronounce it.
It's Triskaideka.
Okay.
It's the fear of the number 13.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Greek.
Very, very impending doom. Balance mirror breaks in the room. Bad luck for 7 years of a time.
So it was halfway written vocally for the melodies, and I just took what they had and just kind of capitalized on the melody and then turned things to make it my own. There was that song and also Indelible Ashes. Again, kind of halfway written, and I just kind of swooped in there and kind of changed some things here and there, some words. And before I knew it, I was in the band, and I played our first show in Germany of October 2 years ago.
Okay. I was going to ask you how long it's been, because I know I've seen footage from you guys playing some festivals and stuff, and it's been a couple of years, but yeah, I wasn't sure the exact time frame of when you joined officially.
Yeah. Actually, I've been with the band since 2023. 2024 was the first show in Germany. I'm trying to think. We did some other shows. We did a couple shows. Oh, Prague Power in the Netherlands. Good thing I don't have to sing today.
Yeah.
And then a few other. Yeah, that was the first show.
Okay.
Yeah, my blood pressure was so high that night because that was my first appearance, my first show, and it was all, either I'm gonna go out there and fall on my face, or they're gonna embrace me.
Sure.
And I went in there and everybody was really pleased. So
that's cool. That's an audience that's pretty rabid for, like, the classic traditional metal and everything. So
yeah,
they know that stuff like the back of their hand. So
they do. They love it.
Well, kind of piggybacking onto something you said when you were 12 or 13, you were already hooked on music. So do you remember kind of what was one of the earliest things you heard maybe that got you hooked on music, from the first records you bought or something that just spoke to you even as a kid?
Well, the first I didn't have any albums. Well, I did have an album that my cousin gave me, and it was the Ace Frehley solo album. And then my birthday came, and I picked up 3 cassettes.
Okay.
Sammy Hagar, 3-Lock Box, Sammy Hagar, Standing Hampton, and then Def Leppard, Pyromania.
Okay.
And that started my musical journey. I also really loved High and Dry.
Oh,
that was a great album.
Yeah.
I also loved Whitesnake. That was actually my very first concert. They opened up for Quiet Riot.
Oh, wow. They were the opener, huh? Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. And it was a Slide It In tour.
Okay.
And Helix was the main opener, and they were awful. Not a Helix fan, but I saw Whitesnake for that first time. I had no idea who David Coverdale was, where he was from, but man, when I heard the song "Love Ain't No Stranger," I was hooked.
Great song.
I was hooked, man. Yeah. And they, in my opinion, I liked them better than I did Quiet Riot.
Well, is anybody else in your family musical? Did you have like music around the house as a kid? Anybody play or sing in your family?
My aunt sang, but no. I was the only one. My younger brothers, they kind of took up after me and started playing guitar.
Yeah.
And but yeah, no.
Well, you said you played drums early on, so what was it that drew you to the drums? Was it just, a certain drummer you saw live and you're like, I think I like to play drums? Or
I don't know what it was. I remember like really young, my dad taking me to my uncle's house, and he had a drum set up there. I was probably like 3 years old, 4 years old maybe. And I thought that was so interesting. And then as I got older, I went into I wanted to be in band in school, and I just sit there and watch the drummer who played the trap kit, and it was an old Ludwig,
mm-hmm.
and I didn't have a drum set, so what I would do is I was watching what he was doing. I'm like, I could do that. And so I learned how to play, you know, on my
Sure.
thigh and stuff. And by the end of the year, I noticed that there was a red Sparkle Rogers in the back of the closet, and I noticed that it wasn't being used, and I asked if I could have it, and my music teacher at the time was like, "Yeah, sure."
Wow. That's
And
pretty
he gave it to me and put new heads on it, and that was my first drum set. And then I was walking. I lived near a bio at that time. I was just a kid, and I was walking to the bio, and I looked in this guy's garage, and he had a blue Sparkle drum set, and I'm like, so I offered to mow his yard, and he'd give me the drum set. So now I had a double bass, red and blue Sparkle Rogers kit. Yeah,
pretty
and
cool.
then I ended up selling that and getting a transparent blue Ludwig Vistelite kit.
Okay.
And man, that kit sounded terrible.
Really?
I don't like. There's so many people that love those Vistelite kits. They sound terrible, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They don't still sound good. And then I ended up selling that drum set, and then I ended up buying. Actually, it wasn't me. My parents saw how serious I was about music because I just lived and breathed it, and they ended up buying me a really nice Yamaha kit. And I played that kit for many, many, many years.
So when did I know you said you just knew early on from 12 or 13 you were hooked on music, but when did it really, the music bug, I guess, bite you, like, and you're like, I want to do something with this. This is what I want to do. I mean, we all have that time where we're the kid in the bedroom with the tennis racket pretending we're Ace Frehley or whatever, but when did it really bite you, the music bug, and you're like, I want to pursue this?
I don't know, probably when I was 16, 17 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I got my first band together and we started playing, I was like, this is what I want to do.
Well, was your family supportive when you decided you were going to pursue music? Or are they like, you better have something to fall back on?
Yeah, my mom was very supportive. My dad didn't understand me. He didn't get it. But my mom, yeah, she was always real supportive with it. But so yeah, I mean, I appreciate her for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it about, like, heavy metal or hard rock in general that drew you to that music?
So I got to the point to where I really loved progressive metal.
Mm-hmm.
That was what spoke to me.
Okay.
And when I heard Perfect Symmetry for the first time from Fate's Warning, and I heard that album, it changed everything for me as a musician, not just a drummer, but as a musician, because I heard things I'd never heard before. And I realized the possibilities that you could blend, violin or cello with heavy guitar playing and odd time signatures. And I was just like, I had never thought about it before. And I had always loved like classical music. Like, I love when first time I saw Mozart, I was like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen that movie, so much. So, and so whenever that album came out, I mean, No Exit was really good too. It was a little bit different, but it was more like, had some acoustic driven neoclassical parts that were really cool in it. But Perfect Symmetry was just such a perfect album for me, and it changed everything, the way I thought about music. And I just realized I can do anything.
Yeah.
Anything, like, there were no rules anymore.
Sure.
And these rules were just barriers that I put in my own head, and then they just all went away.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. If you grew up on listening to radio, it was like, well, it's verse, chorus, bridge, solo, verse, chorus, done. You know, I mean, that was the kind of the format of every song, right? So when you listen to something like that, it's like, you say, there's no rules. It's like, man, we want to throw 12 bridges in, we can, or whatever, you know, or we want to write a 20-minute song that's one side of an album. Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had a similar experience, but for me, it was Awaken the Guardian by Fate's Warning. When I heard that album, to me, that album was just otherworldly, man. Nothing at the time sounded like it. You just put that album on and you were like transported somewhere. It just had this magical feel to it that I hadn't heard anything have up to that point, you know. But I think for me it was Awaken the Guardian and Queensryche's The Warning. Both those albums just blew my mind and still two of my favorites to this day.
So did you like The Guardian over Spectre Within?
That's I'd probably put Awaken the Guardian a little higher, but man, Spectre's a great album too. I mean, just the 1-2 punch of those albums. That's some great stuff. Yeah. And John Arch, such a unique vocalist, like his melodies and phrasing, the way he does things, it was very unique at the time. I mean, there was just sort of nothing like it,
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, I was lucky enough to see that when they got back together and played Prague Power and they played Awaken the Guardian in its entirety. That was something, 15-year-old me thought I would never get to see. So that was just the coolest, but yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And I would put this first Crimson Glory in that category too, because when I first heard them, I mean, Dream Dancer to this day, man, I love Dream Dancer because it starts out, it's kind of mellow, and then it builds to the chorus, and it just takes you on this ride, right? It's got these emotions and waves to it. And even, what is it called? What's the song? Up in the Attic, I Need My Rocking Chair, or, Lost Reflection or whatever.
Yeah.
I just think that is such a cool, you put headphones on, that's such a cool, moody, different song, And like I say, I think just all those albums coming out that time were so different. They weren't just the formulaic kind of maybe hard rock we'd had up to that point or something. It was so different.
Yeah. Funny thing is I didn't know they had a first album, Crimson Glory.
Yeah.
All I had ever heard was Transcendence. Even after I got into the band, I was like, I guess I got to learn the first album. And I had never heard it.
Right.
I had never heard Astronomica. I had Strange and Beautiful, and I had Transcendence.
Different sounding. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. I
got into them with the first album when that came out. But yeah, I really dug that first album a lot. And Transcendence, of course. But yeah, the first one was just at the time very cool. I remember there was the mystique about them, almost like with Kiss, because they had the half covered faces with the metallic thing, and just there was this like mystique about them, and
yeah, absolutely.
It all worked the kind of the total package,
Yeah. There was this was back when I was 16. I worked at a club called After Dark, and Crimson Glory had come through there, and it's just so weird to me to have, back then, like they were considered underground, and so like you couldn't go to like Target or wherever and buy a Crimson Glory poster. Right. And they weren't around. But at the club I worked at, they had these like cardboard, they're about the size of an album, and it had the Transcendence picture on it, and that hung on my wall. Same thing with the Fates Warning, the Perfect Symmetry. Yeah, this is so cool. I was able to look at my wall and like, man, this band is so awesome. And then, years later, I'm singing with them. It's just still kind of just blows me away.
Do you still have the pinch me moments, right?
Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah. So in terms of music, what has it kind of meant to you throughout your life? I mean, obviously, I think for all of us, it's, it energizes us, whatever, you turn on the music, it makes a bad day go away, you feel better. But what has it kind of meant to you?
Yeah, for me, music is I don't know. I don't speak a whole lot, and so it's kind of hard for me to I mean, I don't have a problem expressing how I feel about things,
Mhm.
but there are certain things I can't find the right words for.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of those people that's a talker, you know? And so, what music does for me is it allows me, it says the things that I can't say, that I can't find words for. This is how I'm feeling. Put this song on.
Sure.
This is what I'm trying to say. You know, this is, you know, this, there's just so, I don't know. It seems like words don't do, justice of what I'm trying to get across.
Mhm.
Of things I need to say to somebody.
Yeah.
And so it allows me to dig deep into myself, and sometimes you don't know how you feel, but sometimes music allows you to figure it out what it is that you feel, and it can help you say the things that you're trying to say, or
Yeah.
help you feel things that you need to feel that you probably wouldn't be able to pull out on your own. It's like it's something that moves you. It
Mhm.
moves you. It hits like a certain button in your chest or your head, and it's like, this is what I'm talking about, you know?
Yeah. Those songs that make the hair on your arm stick up, you know?
Yeah,
You know the ones that
absolutely.
yeah, it's like, "Oh, man," yeah. So where do you find inspiration? Like, I know right now you've worked on the new Crimson Glory album, but you've had your original bands like Infidel Rising, and you talked about finishing that Millennial Reign album in 3 weeks, and so where do you kinda get your inspiration from lyrically?
Mostly personal experience.
Yeah.
Um, and biblically speaking, so within Millennial Reign, a lot of that was both personal and biblical. Same
Mhm.
thing with Infidel Rising, biblical and personal. But with Infidel Rising, things had more of a darker or even more melancholic overtone to the words, because um, it's really, how do I say this? It's that was my band. It was like,
Yeah.
I tried to put my heart into everything that I may have dealt with, or that I was going through, and how I was going to get through it. Or there was a Bible verse that I didn't quite understand, and I'm struggling to get through. How that affected me. Um, uh, and it's different than say with Crimson Glory. I don't do that so much with Crimson Glory.
Mhm.
With Crimson Glory, my approach is more on a personal um, perception versus biblical, because the fans of Crimson Glory, they don't want to hear preaching. They don't, they want to hear the metal. They want to hear the metal. That's what they want to hear, the music. And so that's what I try to focus on. And I think that if, they ever have questions, they can always send me messages, meet me backstage at the show, and they want to talk about it. I'm always open. But as far with that band, I keep things strictly all about the music.
Yeah.
And I think it's best to keep things that way, especially when you're in a secular genre like Crimson Glory.
Mhm.
you know, if people know your position, and if they have questions, they'll come and talk to you. They'll reach out to you. You know, if they don't know, it's all fine. That's fine. But yeah, I just try to keep things strictly all about the music, and like I said, things are, when I look back on the things that were written on the new album, there's some personal songs like Chasing the Hydra. Dang, now that I think about it, almost everything has to do with something personal on that album. Except one song, and I had to take it from the view of someone that had gone to war. I don't know what it's like to go to war, so I had to kind of dig deep down in myself to have empathy of what it would be like. And there's some historic lyrics in the older Crimson Glory albums, like Red Sharks, all about communism, you know. But yeah, I think bands like Crimson Glory, they're, you know, they have like Crimson Glory, your Queensryche, your Fate's Warning. They call them like the thinking man's music, right, because of the wording, versus someone like Motley Crue or Poison or Kiss, or, you know, those, sure, a lot of the lyrics are kind of juvenile.
Yeah.
No, we try to talk about things that make you think.
Yeah.
That's what I like to do. I think most people like to be challenged.
So do you have a favorite album or project so far that you're most proud of, that you've been a part of, whether it's an original band of yours or just something you've been asked to be a part of? Or
well, definitely the Crimson Glory stuff. I mean, I've done a lot of, or not a lot, but I've done several albums with different musicians, but I really love the very first Infidel Rising album. That was my very first album, and to me, every time I put it on, it feels timeless. I guess it just means the most to me.
Sure.
You're talking about work that I've done, correct?
Yeah.
Or been involved in, yeah.
Right.
And then this Crimson Glory album, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait to finish up the second one.
Are you guys working on it already?
Yeah, we're already working on the next album.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. We're 2 songs in, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, where do the rest of the guys live? I know they were a Florida band originally, but are they still based out of Florida? Or?
Yeah, they're still in Sarasota.
Well, you talked about favorite album. What about favorite gig? This is one that stands out as a super cool place to play, or just, you know, the crowd was super into it, or just one of those, oh, I can't believe I get to play here kind of moments?
Yeah. Man, there's been a couple. There's been a couple. First one was Keep It True. That was amazing. Sweden Rock was amazing. Cyprus was amazing. I loved Cyprus. It was small, quaint, and the people really loved the music.
Yeah.
They were on fire for it. There's actually some footage at Cyprus, one with Red Sharks, and you see them stage diving and crowd surfing. And then there's another video of doing Lost Reflections, and Dana's got one side of this. It's like this cloth drape that had Midnight on the front of it.
Yeah.
And he's covering his eye like this. And there's lots of pictures of that around. And there was a guy that had that made, and it was a fan that had that made, and he gave it to us. And we were honoring Midnight after every show. And funny enough, when I got home after that tour, Midnight's daughter lives here.
Oh, okay.
And I reached out to her and I was like, hey, send me your address. And she gave it to me and I sent it to her.
No, that's cool.
Yeah, I felt if anybody needed that, she needed that.
Awesome.
And the whole band agreed. It wasn't just my idea. The whole band agreed. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, did you ever get a chance to see Crimson Glory ever with Midnight?
I don't, like I said, I was working at After Dark. That was a club I was playing. I don't really recall. So I'm going to tell you this, and then we'll follow it up with something else. So I don't really recall the show. However, it's probably because I was working. Usually when bands would play, like Crimson Glory, Pantera, the national acts, you get very, very busy, and you wouldn't have time to watch the show because it was so busy. So I guess it was about a year later, I had a show, and I was playing at my club, and their manager came up to me and asked me, he's like, hey, do you know who Crimson Glory is? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, well, they're looking for a drummer. Would you be interested?
Oh, wow. And
I was like, yeah. And he gave me his card, and I went to tell my mom, and she's like, no, you got to finish school. So weird stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, 2 opportunities that they've come looking for you here.
Yes. Yes.
Very
It was
cool.
crazy. The only band I do remember seeing play at that club was Pantera, but they had come several times before, but there was this one time. It was during the Cowboys from Hell show. And that was cool because they had a signing session right before the show, and I was there, and I wanted to get some stuff signed and stuff. And Phil, he was real, tough guy, and everybody else seemed real nice. And then the next time was Fate's Warning, the Perfect Symmetry tour. The only reason I really remember that is because I hadn't started working there yet.
Okay.
But I got in and got to meet Mark Zonder.
Oh, wow.
And he let me sit behind the kit the whole time
That's awesome.
he played. And he let me play his drum kit.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was very cool. Those are the only 2 shows I remember playing that club.
That's pretty awesome. Well, it's funny because I interviewed him for Metal Roots back last year, and I asked him because I figured, okay, so Mark Zonder, he probably owns 15 drum kits. I said, how many drum kits do you have? Or whatever. In the course of the conversation, he's like, 1. the one you see, that's the only one he has.
Yeah.
It's really not like some big massive kit. It's just that's what he's always played.
Yeah,
he proves that you don't have to have a big kit to do really cool stuff.
Right. So. Well, the kit that he has now is different than what. I think he started playing that stripped down kit when he got with Slavier.
Okay.
And because with Fate's Warning, he was playing what was the name of that? What was the name of that kit, that brand? KMS or KMD? I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that's what he played in Fate's Warning. They were handmade drums,
Okay.
and then prior to that in Warlord, I think he was playing Ludwig's.
So here's a loaded question for you. So what do you think makes the heavy metal community unique or different, I guess?
Do you talking about here in the States or in?
Yeah,
Europe.
yeah, no, there's a tough question. Are you talking Brazil or you're talking Europe? You're talking the States? Yeah. I just think in general, like the community of metal fans, what makes it kind of unique?
Man, that is a loaded question. In Europe, time stands still for sure.
Yeah. 1984 over there or something, right?
It is. Here, it seems like it's a dying breed. I mean, you still have your hardcore fans, but I don't know. Things are more popular, like your rap and your pop.
Yeah.
Is more popular. So
I think one thing that's interesting to me is, like you say, when you see a video from Keep It True or any other European metal fest, everybody's got their jackets with the patches and everything. You don't really see that at American metal fest. That's not really a thing here.
right.
So yeah, I see a few, but it's not like, it's just a sea of jackets and stuff when you go to those festivals over there. And
Right.
here it's a sea of maybe black t-shirts, but not the patches and the vests and the sort of metal look with the spiked wristbands and stuff. You don't really see that. And
Yeah. It's kind of a shame. It's like we that grew up on that didn't pass that down, and maybe it was because of the influence of television and social media and radio. All that stuff influenced a generation that just wasn't going to bite.
yeah,
Which is a shame because along with that, what comes with that is also you get musicians. A lot of people that are into that our type of music, well, we turn into musicians.
yeah,
And so that's kind of seems to be getting pushed down the wayside. And now you've got Suno taking charge of everything, And so I don't know. That's a whole. I think it's a whole can of worms, if you ask me.
yeah. Oh, I do too. Yeah, there's so much of it now. There's stuff pops up. I'm sure, like you and everybody else in the world now, it pops up in your Facebook feed or a YouTube suggestion. And as soon as you hit play, you're like, no, this is AI,
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Or you can tell by the album covers. I guess album cover is not really.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, you brought that up. There was people accusing us of using AI on our album, and that wasn't the case at all. The guy that drew that was Justice Mitchell.
Okay.
And he's the guy that did the Strange and Beautiful album. He drew that, the abstract looking album. Yeah. He's got some great work. He's a really good artist. And yeah, I had to make a post about it just to quiet them down because people were like, "Oh, they've gone AI." I'm like, "No, we didn't go AI. That's actual human hands that drew that."
So, well, that brings me to a question about. Next question was, what kind of challenges and changes of the music industry have you seen? But I mean, yeah, I think we just kind of talked about the biggest one is AI coming in now, and I think the touring too, because I just saw the band Y&T, like Dave Minichetti put a post up about, Y&T's been a band's been touring since they came out in 1972 or whenever it was.
Yeah.
He said that they've had to like cancel a bunch of tour dates and are only going to do select dates in 26 because it just isn't financially feasible for them to tour like they were,
Yeah. I don't know. I think legacy bands like Y&T and I think it's their I think they're kind of going to be doing good for a little while. I mean, for a long time we had tribute bands doing really well, and then you saw a change in like the it went from rap to now a rock song. I think it was a rock song that actually took #1 slot, and so I think things are kind of changing. But I do think that legacy bands like Crimson Glory, like Y&T, are going to be making a comeback. Not a big one, but I think people are realizing, we're getting older. We've got to make the most of this we can. So we really need to go out there and support, because we're not, we're getting older. We're not going to be here forever. Especially when you get older, it gets harder to sing the higher stuff, the more aggressive stuff. It just doesn't come easy, So, so I do think right now, legacy bands are in a good place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I think you see, Iron Maiden does so well, right? I mean, they tour the world and sell out everywhere they go, So I think, and God bless him. If Ozzy was still alive, he'd be selling out and doing well. But I think, like you say, those bands of that level that had that success in the '80s are probably going to do pretty well. But it's just tough for the newer up and coming bands because you're fighting an uphill battle from the get go.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, I even look at bands like that I consider, I consider big bands, but maybe to the rest of the world, they're not a household name yet. But even some of these behind me on the wall, I think they're great bands. They put out several albums, have been around 20, 30 years, but, they're not doing it at the level of an Iron Maiden,
Right. Exactly.
So, it's just I think it's going to be tough for any bands to get to that level nowadays. Your Rolling Stones aren't going away. Your Kisses or whoever, they've established that they're going to, be around or whatever. But just it's tough if you're a 15-year-old kid now who wants to start a band.
It really is. It really is. You have to be doing something unique,
Yeah.
Like
I think you've seen that a little bit because you've seen these bands like Sleep Token and Ghost and stuff come out, which I'm not really into either of them musically, but let's face it, they kind of took what Kiss and these bands were doing in the 70s and repackaged it for the 2020s or whatever with, hiding their identities and masks and makeup and theatrics and, so if you can do something unique like that makes you kind of stand out or,
Yeah. Well, I have got to get back to work. I got a driver wanting me to take a look at his tractor. So,
awesome. Well, Travis, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate this. This has been fun.
Thank you. And, look me up on Facebook and we'll be friends and stuff.
All right, man. Sounds good. And everybody check out the new Crimson Glory drops. Is April 17th?
Yes, sir.
All right. So check that out when it comes out and give Travis a listen.
All right. Thanks, Wade.
Take care.